my final question across to Ashutosh Srivastava, Supreme Court advocate, is joining us. Ashutosh Srivastava, from a common person's point of view, there's some mixed messaging coming on from the Apex Court, and I hope you can break it down for our viewers here.
Yes.
A few days ago,
Yes.
when Manish Sisodia was granted bail by the Supreme Court had judged that keeping someone indefinitely behind bars is denying him his fundamental right to freedom, and some other
Right.
very strong remarks as well. Yesterday, the Supreme Court
Yes.
pointed out that bail and not jail is the norm, even in cases such as UAPA, where the burden of accused is actually on the burden of proof is on the accused to prove his or her innocence. Right
Yes.
after that, today we got a headline coming from the Supreme Court that there has been no bail granted to Arvind Kejriwal. Is this procedural, or do you
Yes.
feel that there is some mixed messaging which comes in
No,
from the Apex Court?
I explain that part. See, first of all, the matter which came up for hearing before the Supreme Court today, it was the interim bail which the Supreme Court said that we are not inclined to grant. However, the main petition is pending. It is to be heard. So, in a way, the Supreme Court has already issued notice. That means the Supreme Court is interested to hear this matter on merits of the case. And the Supreme Court is of the view that the opposite party, that is CBI, should also be given appropriate opportunity to produce their case why the custody of Mr. Kejriwal is required to be continued. So, see, in these kind of cases, so it is not that the court has finally decided it. It only said that we will not grant interim bail unless and until we hear the opposite party, that is the CBI in this case as well. So now, the main issues the Supreme Court will look into on 23rd, or as the case may be, whether giving bail to Mr. Kejriwal will impact any sort of influence in the investigation which is going on by the CBI, whether the witnesses will be tampered, whether there will be a flight risk, whether he can, he will not participate in the, in the prosecution, in the proceedings, in the trial. So all these aspects are to be seen by the Supreme Court while deciding the bail petition. So, then the CBI will come up as to why they require the custody of Mr. Kejriwal. And then what evidences do they have, and, how his release will affect the investigation. That is what the CBI has to prove from their side.
Okay.
And from this side, as you said, that, an under trial prisoner cannot be detained behind the bar, indefinitely. That is true. But at the same time, it has to be seen whether the investigation is, totally completed by the investigating agency, whether his release will influence. Because if we see the order passed by the Delhi High Court on 5th of August while rejecting or to grant any sort of relief to Mr. Kejriwal, it is stated that only after the arrest certain witnesses have come up and they have, given their statements. Otherwise, they were not interested. They were under fear to give any such a statement. And also, the Delhi High Court reached to a conclusion that there was no malice behind the arrest by the CBI. So all these findings are there by the High Court of Delhi. But at the same time, we have to see how the Supreme Court goes on onto this particular case and this aspect. So I'm
so
of the view
all eyes are
that,
now on the 23rd of August.